Flyover state of film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
We get ready to start it. This is all going to stay in anyway. I don't know why I'm pretending that Yusuf's going to cut any of this. Just going to leave it all in.
I cut some stuff, but when you say stuff like that, then I'm just.
Then it has to stay in. I know I make guaranteed that it's going to stay in.
Welcome!
No, I'm the one who says welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Flyover State of Film. I'm Brian. I'm your host tonight. I'm doing a very bad job. It's not going well. But our boys are here, so it doesn't matter. TJ, Yusuf, Joe, how are you guys? How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Welcome.
So many J's. TJ, Yusuf, Joe. Why am I the odd man out? No J in my name.
Yusuf is a Y, dude. Learn how to fucking spell.
I'm sorry. I'm just racist. I can't help it. I just say,
I am a Y.
I'm an old man. I'm crotchety and I have opinions. And you know who else is an old man who's crotchety and has opinions? Who also has 2 movies coming out this year and has managed to keep himself in the news cycle on Twitter just like perpetually is
So
the
funny.
living legend that is Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Earlier this month it was they asked these directors the same question because they know they'll get these clickbait headlines because these guys don't give any. Ridley Scott is 80 years old and made legitimate film classics that will never be forgotten. So he knows he can just say whatever the fuck he wants, and it's awesome. He's just like, those movies are boring trash. I would like that's a piece of crap, and everybody's like, boo. And I'm like, I like those movies, but I like Ridley Scott says that even more. It's so great. And then he did it again. He came out and said that people were too dumb to watch The Last Duel, basically. He's like, they're staring at their phones like a bunch of morons. He called them the millennials or something.
That's more what he said. He said they only care about what's on their phones, not on the
Yeah. So, like, if he released The Last Duel on a phone, you would watch it.
Oh, someone watched it on a phone.
He can't have it both ways, complaining about superheroes making $1 billion at the theater and then saying it only has to be on their phone. But, he's caught. He can say whatever the fuck he wants. But it could be also that nobody wants to see, our movie, RAPE, because just in case that we get taken off Twitter.
That was basically the thing. I did want to see The Last Duel. I'm a Ridley Scott fan. I thought it looked interesting. My wife was not interested in going to see a 2.5-hour movie focused on sexual assault. That was just not her bag, and I find it hard to blame her.
Millennials.
It happens throughout the film.
It's literally the entire focus of the movie.
I was gonna say, I think it's told because it's one of those things where it's like you're seeing the story told from multiple perspectives. So literally, yes, you see it more than once. Like,
I'm good on that. I'm alright on that one.
It's I think it's
we don't need.
I'm sure one person's perspective, it's more of a consensual thing, and then you see some that are, you know what I mean. I'm sure there's going to be different.
All while being a period drama, like a period piece, like that's even more torturous.
And also, Ben Affleck has a shin strap, and
he's got a blonde bowl cut. It's very
that's enough.
Right, it's amazing.
I wanted to see it. I was interested, but I understand why
I wanted to see Adam Driver.
My son weirdly obsessed with House of Gucci. The House of Gucci ads are really working on Harrison.
Wait, really?
I want to see.
Wait, does he think it looks funny or cool?
No, he his interest, genuine interest. He was disappointed when I was like, we're probably not going to see that one in the theater. And he was like bummed out. He didn't like that.
You should take him because that's an experience he'll remember.
I
Like
want to
that.
see that live action cartoon. It looks so freaking out of control, so stupid, so good, so bad. I feel like it's gonna be everything at the same time.
I like the one review I read or like not review, but like highlight where it was like, it was like everyone else like really trying, giving an authentic Italian accent, and then it's like Jared Leto, Mia Mario,
Yeah.
like.
I also heard like Lady Gaga was the same way, where she was just like, I just kind of stopped working with my linguist because I just didn't want to sound like anybody else. You know what I mean? I didn't want to like pick up. So like I didn't look into the true story that much because I didn't watch a bunch of like the file footage or footage of the woman I was playing because I didn't want it to like influence my performance or whatever. I was like, this might be awesome. Also,
it
seeing
looks a lot of fun.
Ridley Scott on the red carpet with Lady Gaga and Jared Leto is so hilarious. It's amazing.
And we have Al Pacino too, you know. So.
Yeah.
And Adam Driver. So
yeah,
I'm down.
Cares about that
Half
guy.
of a good cast.
I think,
it looks
Al
fun.
Pacino he bring back the
I'm looking forward
Dunkachino
to
for
it.
this one? Is that
Dunkachino.
I'm running my finger down all of your noses for the rest of the episode. Oh, at least Joe got it.
Let me get a good look at you.
He should have been nominated for that performance.
That's
He
a
did a
great
great Jeff Bridges impression.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm so fucking drunk.
I don't know what anybody's talking about actually.
A Star is Born.
Oh yeah, I
Bradley
didn't see
Cooper.
that. It was terrible.
It's good.
And then
good.
And then like 6 months after the movie came out and it was everybody stopped talking about it, I finally heard the song from it, and it was like the worst song I've ever heard. I couldn't believe
I like
that was the song that everybody was like
Nobody
talking
cares.
about and shit.
But you know what?
Awful.
There's a lot of
Ridley Scott.
there was a lot of monologues in Star is Born by Bradley Cooper in that gruff voice.
My God.
Oh yeah? Well, I mean, if you don't like a movie that has a lot of monologues, it's probably just that you're too dumb to understand them. You
Yeah.
probably just can't comprehend what a freshman theology class has to say, like spewing back at you with a single camera frame for 40 minutes.
Take out my Bible where I have highlighted all the fucking thing. Oh, fuck off.
Well, listen, have you ever read the New Testament or the Old Testament?
Yeah, but
So I
Have you
said,
heard
You
the
have
good
a-
news, boys?
Jesus
We're changing directions on this show.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Midnight Mass, dude.
Well,
Midnight
we were
Mass.
talking about Midnight Mass
I
and
liked-
how
I
I
liked it.
personally was not a fan. Some excellent performances and some it could have probably been trimmed down to a very fun, interesting thing, but they pondered on everything for so long.
Can you point towards a performance?
Yeah, I could point you to a couple of them. The Bible Thumping
Yeah,
Lady.
you can point to a fucking dumpster
I
next to
love
my
Jared.
house and it would be
Yusef.
equally.
Yusef.
You know what?
Shit.
So I want
You
to.
like
I want to say
CW
this.
shows and you find them
All
good
right.
acting. So I don't give a fuck what you think is good
Straight up.
acting, DJ.
I'll tell you guys this right now. Me and the girlfriend been watching Blue Bloods a lot. That show fucking rocks.
All right, so Blue Bloods podcast is definitely happening because Tom Selleck's the man.
Love that show.
But I will do it.
in
It
my
has the better
Blue
Wahlberg
podcast.
in it, and we got Donnie Wahlberg in Blue Bloods.
Tom Selleck. Come
I don't
on.
Donnie
think- I don't
Wahlberg.
think
Hey,
people would
let's get
understand
back to
that.
the question at hand.
So-
The question
So
was
wait, so
just
I just want to
because
say
one
one thing about.
show was full of boring, overly
So I
long,
want to
ponderous
say one thing about
monologues.
Midnight Mass. I want to say one thing about Midnight Mass.
Fucking Joe.
I liked it, but it was a clear example where I wish I just saw the movie version of that fucking story.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting kind of sick of all these things being TV series. Like
Should
I
have
watched.
just made
I watched
Salem's
that
Lot.
Tommy
Why
Lee-
didn't Mike Flanagan just make Salem's Lot? He's clearly so steeped in that Stephen King vibe. Just
He will.
you could put, and I'm not saying like adapt it, but also put some of your neat little ideas that you took
will.
from this show. Sure, fine, shuffle some in there.
will.
Oh God.
But
Anyway,
like why that I just watched that trailer for that Tommy Lee, Pam Anderson. Like, oh, this movie looks good. The end of the fucking trailer is like
just
new
like
series, and it was like, oh well, not watching that
I'll be
now.
looking. That happens to me all the time. If I'm flicking through and something looks interesting, then I see it's a series. I'm like, nah, pass. Everything's 7 episodes, and that's 4 episodes too many.
My favorite conversations now are people saying, "Have you seen that series?" And I go like, "No," and they're like, "What? You have to!" And I always say, "No, I don't. I'm good." There's
mean you
so
haven't
much
seen
shit
Yellow-
now. I'm good.
What do you
I'm
mean?
good.
What do you mean
I'm
you
good.
haven't seen Yellowstone on Paramount Plus?
I haven't. I'm sorry. I'm good. Have
The
you
next
seen
thing that
Ted
I'm waiting
Lasso?
on,
No, I'm good. Have
I-
you seen Succession?
I'm just waiting
No,
on
I'm good.
MacGruber. Just give me MacGruber. Come on, give me that.
Although
MacGruber.
the Chucky series is fucking whipping ass, and I wish I had
That's
cable
true.
to watch
Chucky
it tonight.
kills.
Wait,
It's on. So
Watch the
I'm
first
good.
episodes. We enjoy it. Waiting to binge it.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. All right, let's get to the actual question.
All
Let's
right.
get to the actual
Yeah.
question.
Brian
The
hated
actual question was, what are some good speeches or monologues from
I
movies?
think that was TJ's question,
So
right?
we're just
Yeah,
jumping.
TJ.
I don't remember, honestly.
TJ asked it.
But I'm going to start before someone steals my favorite speech of all time, because for me, I saw this movie 3 times in one day. Obsessed with it. It's right up there with one of the greatest movies of all time. My favorite. I don't want to say it because it kind of semi spoils it, but also the fact that it kind of flipped the speech thing on its head. It did the whole like you have this prestigious actor who's known for doing these type of scenes, and they went, you know what? Shark eats the motherfucker in the middle of the goddamn speech. Like Samuel L. Jackson, the Deep Blue Sea thing. Because
Oh.
if you're seeing that for the first time or watching the movie for the first time, you're like, Samuel Jackson's got to be at the end of this movie. He's got to be semi the hero or like the protagonist. And then it's like all of a sudden he's like, we're not gonna fight anymore. We're gonna pull it together and crunch. Dude just gets fucking annihilated. And every time I saw it 3 times in one day. Again, I'll say that again. 3 times in one day I saw Deep Blue Sea.
At the theater?
In the theater.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I went with my
Just
dad.
keep walking into showings?
Yep, just came. Oh no, I came back. I saw it with my dad. Came back. Told my cousin about it. We lived right down the street from the theater. Like we're walking there right now, seeing it again. Came back again, and then we took our other friend once he got off work.
That's amazing.
But like every time I was in the theater for the opening day, we saw it Friday. Obviously, this is one like a Thursday night, 12 p.m. show or 12 a.m. showing. Every single person in the theater had the same reaction. They were just got up and were like, because I feel like at that point in time, you needed that different speech like moment where he's like, we're gonna do it, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, you just got destroyed.
And in that movie, they build it up so well where you're like, yeah, like they like play it off. You have no idea it's gonna happen, and it's so fun. And it's what the second lead kind of in the movie.
Yeah, I mean he would.
Oh
he's
yeah,
essentially
absolutely. He was
the biggest
definitely one of the stars. It was a very Drew Barrymore and Scream kind of moment, you know.
So fun. Rennie
her.
Harlan's best movie.
Yes.
I don't know. Long Kiss Goodnight, though.
That was
We
good.
did cover that on the podcast. You're right.
That was around Christmas time last year, I think, right?
Yeah, 'cause that's
Yeah,
a
maybe
Christmas
the
movie.
picks might reflect that this year. Who knows?
Oh, jeez. But yeah, that's one for me. Yusef, you go, baby.
Actually, we covered this movie on a weird doubleheader. Al Pacino, The Devil's Advocate.
She's got
when he's like talking to Keanu, like he's a sadist.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
worship
Good
him.
one.
Why?
How
Like,
many
it's such
of-
a good.
Like along with Samuel L. Jackson, like how many of those do you think he has in his films? Like he always has those moments of like,
Oh yeah, like you gotta have that big like
Since
speechifying, point the camera at Al Pacino and just let him do his thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
probably since like he was like in that era of like winning the Son of a Woman Oscar, being like a little larger than life. Probably since then, every movie featured him having that type of
and
speech.
that's like mid '90s, so we're going on 30
early
years.
'90s.
Of that now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I feel like pre that, like I can't remember even in like.
with Scarface,
can't
he
even
has
remember,
a
like-
bunch of them though. Scarface,
Yeah,
he
but
has
they're
like
like-
4.
Scarface is a lot.
Scarface
But
is a lot.
Fucking
Did he have one
Coco.
in Serpico? It's been a
Yeah.
while since
Well,
I
the
watched
whole
Serpico.
Attica thing where he's
Okay.
getting, oh, no, not Attica. Is that
And
Serpico?
No, that's Dog Day Afternoon. So you know what? He's
Dog
been
Day
doing this
Afternoon.
shit since the '70s. These
Yeah.
speeches, not the '90s.
But bro, to Yusef's point, like this one, I don't know if it's because it's at Keanu and not like it's just like something different about it and more like along lines of Samuel Jackson one, where like you remember it more because he's done it a million fucking times for the fact that he's like doing it to Keanu in the back.
Two naked women just or like things like
Writhing around on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also he's kind of making good points, you know? Like he's the devil, but he's like, why?
That's the thing
like,
about the devil. Very tempting.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's like, hey,
He's
I'm
the best
here.
devil ever put on screen. Best
I'm actually
Lucifer
trying
ever
to
put on
help you. I'm
screen.
actually trying to do something for you. Why the fuck are you choosing this absentee landlord, like he calls him? So it's and
Look
it's
at her
also
neck.
funny. It's very fucking funny, like because he like you tend to think about probably towards later, and many could argue here like he's an overactor, but in this speech he picks certain words to really drive home the message, especially like the one that I said, this a sadist, like because like it really lands because you're like, oh, maybe he is a sadist, like you're
Who
making
knows
a
what
good
movie
point.
he's
He
in?
does like to see people suffer because he's not helping anybody. But yeah, he's
Who knows
such a
what
good
movie
actor.
he's in?
And I love that, this is the 90s, so they let their actors sweat, and you can see like his brow starting to sweat because he's like really in his emotions, and there's a fireplace behind him, so that set was hot, and he was in his tuxedo, so Al Pacino was just sweating bullets during that scene.
Shout out to the movie we're going to be talking about later. There's tons of brow sweat in this
Oh,
film.
yeah.
Oh yeah, really sweaty. Jeff Bridges, it's so sweaty,
Fucking
and
sweaty
pulling
as hell.
so many
She clean
faces in
shaved
this one.
to be sweaty.
Jeff
Just so we can
Bridges'
see all
face
the
in this
beads.
movie
Yeah.
is on a whole nother planet. Joe, why don't you go? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so you know what? You're all gonna hate me on this one. Just because I could recite this whole monologue, and I have, it's the Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey coming back from the apartment, being like, "We got to go someplace where the beer flows like wine, where the women flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called Aspen." And then he gives the whole line about like, we got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off, like the whole thing.
But he hits a Will Smith moment, which
I'm just sick and tired of
takes on a
having
whole
nobody.
new meaning now.
He's like,
where he vomits.
No,
It's just,
I'm sick of being a nobody.
Yeah,
and
that's what
you kind of like, you can see like, Jim Carrey's got a little bit more.
they're acting.
I'm not a hater with you. I love this movie. I know these two.
I like him.
Because I have like honorable mentions. I have like 2 honorable mentions. Like we'll get to after,
I have
but like that was
mentions too.
that was like number one where I'm like, you know what? That is a really fun monologue. TJ absolutely hit it because it does try to hit the little emotional beat at the end. And he's like, all right, Lloyd, and he's like, they're in their dirty ass apartment, and there's just the who's the woman from the 70s with the braided hair, the braids.
Derek.
There's a Bo Derek fucking poster in the background, and their dirty ass lazy boy couches.
Their dead bird.
Yep. Did you get the bare essentials? Got robbed by a sweet little old lady on a motorized cart.
Didn't you see it coming?
All right, calm down. All right. Anyway, that is just a monologue for me. That is truly makes me laugh every time, but it's also some tears. Brian,
you guys all said you have honorable mentions also, so I'll kind of start with my honorable mentions, which I consider to be low-hanging fruit, which was like the Braveheart speech and Idris Elba from Pacific Rim. Those were like 2
I don't think that's low-hanging fruit.
Like
nothing from Pacific
wartime.
Rim is low-hanging fruit, Brian.
Yeah, no, Joe nailed that one. I think that's a great one, though.
Braveheart is Logan.
Yeah, Braveheart.
I guess maybe because I just feel like it's like a play on the same thing. They're kind of both. Maybe that's why I kind of lumped them in together. The Braveheart one, I guess, is the more obvious choice, and then Idris Elba, I think, did a similar version of, but also very good. I guess is where I'm going with that.
The Independence Day one, I was like,
but I was trying to think of something like in Midnight Mass. There's a lot of emotion, and I wanted to think of something like what's one that made me feel something. And as far back as, when I was like a teen watching it, and every time I watch it, I think it holds up. And I got to give it up to Emilio Estevez as Andrew in The Breakfast Club.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Telling the story about just taping the kids' cheeks together, and it starts out kind of with some levity, and then he brings it down, and then he's, he's so like there's just a lot going on there, and young Emilio's got the chops. He's very good in that scene.
They said that so well. Set it up so well when like he gets dropped off and Dad's like, we all fooled around, but you got caught. You can't ruin it. And then like he does it, and he's just like he goes into his dad where like dad movies, guys. There's gonna be a big theme of this one is dad movies.
Dad movies.
That whole moment.
The
where
whole
he-
weekend was bringing up dad shit. The Ghostbusters has a lot of dad shit in it, and then there was some other movie that was like all about dads. Too much dad shit going on.
Brian has too much dad stuff thrown around. We goes to see Harrison. He's like, I hope you love me later in life.
Yeah, I was like, I don't talk to my dad, so it's like, it makes me nervous.
Oh, the obvious honorable mention I have is the Good Will Hunting. Your move, Chief.
Mhm.
I was say, it's not your fault. I know. Hey,
I guess the movie's filled with them.
it's not your fault.
Where he's like, but you never experienced real love. You probably read it in a book or read it in a sonnet, and you can quote it. That's great, but you never held someone's hand during this and this and this. That one gets me every single fucking time.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing's, I have it to the right. I have a little note. Like, it's a fucking 4.5 minute speech, too, which is wild.
Yeah. And he
That's
improvised on
1/4 of the length of every speech in Midnight Mass.
You know what's an unusual one?
You're just so fucking dumb, Ryan. You don't get it.
That I liked, and it's not
Tell
from the
yourself.
movie, and he was like, is the Zod speech in Man of Steel.
Yeah,
About like how he'll like when I just really like Michael Shannon, but when Michael Shannon's like, I will find him, we will get him.
yeah. I will find him.
Yeah, that
because
rules.
I guarantee, as shitty as Zack Snyder as a director, he just held that camera on fucking Michael Shannon's face because he does his whole speech and then waits like a good 15, 25 seconds. Then he just like, the spit comes out. I was like, I will find him. It was like, okay. If you could have just wrapped that one.
Give me a little more.
Zack Snyder gave him direction by telling him he didn't recycle, and Michael Shannon was like, you have to save the planet.
I don't actually. I do have a speech that no one's gonna really think about. Me and Joe talked about this movie on a flyby a while back. We were talking about sports movies of like kids growing up. We did Three Ninjas and Little Giants, but the one-time speech by Rick Moranis and Little Giants. That's one that I will use that for my kids when they're on sports or doing whatever the hell they want to do. It's like that one moment. All you need is that one time. That's it. And you'll be chasing that high the rest of your life. Like, guys, when I was in high school, man, I was such a good quarterback.
TJ, it's wild that you mentioned that speech because the other week I saw that new the Stallone edit of the Rocky IV.
Oh yeah.
And it's complete, like, it's just crazy to see different scenes and everything. But the one scene that he should have had in the old, like the original version, is when he's leaving and talking to his son. And it's not this dumb speech where his son's like, "Here, I don't want to get beat up by a big old man like you do," or whatever he says. In the new edit, he has a full fucking speech to his son about like not letting anyone like put you in your place, and like it was like very like emotional to the scene and like made sense. And you're like, yeah, this should have been in
why wasn't this always in? Why did you take this out originally?
Like it made it like it had emotional weight, and Stallone was good at giving that speech, but that would have been a good fucking monologue. Even the ending monologue at his ending speech is different in the new one.
I was watching
you should watch it as an experiment. I just want everyone listening.
The really
watch it as an experiment.
Rocky Balboa, and the whole movie's a big old bag of garbage. But the one speech gives his sons, you get knocked down.
Rocky Balboa is like the third best Rocky movie.
And what he
does give some amazing speeches in it. Love it or hate it, there's like 3 amazing like tear jerkers in that whole movie.
Can you rank this for me real fast, Brian? So I can be.
No, I don't want to get into that right now. Let's move on.
That's a whole podcast.
I wanted to honorable mention Social Network when Eduardo, Andrew Garfield comes for his shit and he slams Mark Zuckerberg's computer and he's like, "I'm sorry, my hoodie and my fucking product. Like, I'm coming for everything." And I really like that moment, especially because like the entire fucking movie, Jesse is just like getting away with everything and being like a douchebag, and in that moment you can see fear in his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, actions do have consequences."
Also, even
and then he punks Justin Timberlake, which everybody wants to punk Justin Timberlake. That's fucking hilarious. Another one that I picked is even though the movie doesn't hold up, I thought it would on a second viewing. It really doesn't. Skyfall, when Javier Bardem comes down the elevator and has that little sequence with James Bond where he's like flirting but being menacing at the same time and saying
Yeah.
money
That's a
was
good.
bad.
You know what
Uh,
though? I think even a better version of that, you would just say Heath Ledger's Joker speech. It's
that one
like
too.
the whole
That's a
about
good one.
how do I get these scars? Either one of those is a great monologue.
When he comes into to the gangsters
I don't
and
want to
see a
kill
trick.
you. I have the "This Is How I Win" from Uncut Gems as my last honorable mention. Out of a couple.
I like that movie. Uh,
You know what? Also, Skyfall. You know what? There's another Skyfall, Casino Royale. You know who's in Casino Royale? Mads Mikkelsen.
Matt
That's
Dickinson's
true.
birthday was
Yo.
yesterday as we record. Happy birthday to our Lord and Savior, one of our three kings. One
As
of
you were saying about what's his name, Michael Shannon, I was like, well, I want to see Michael Shannon and Mads Mikkelsen in a movie together. Why don't those dudes play a movie where they're like crazy ass brothers? There's that?
That would have great energy.
they
That
can
movie
just
would
out
be.
weird each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like hard angled faces and weird energies.
yeah, we all love him. Thanks to the Hannibal, that's our shared love. That's probably one of his best performances ever because I feel like even though Hopkins is great as this medicine character, Mads was able to show why he fooled everybody. Like that charm and that just he put anybody could fall in love with him, and then he also showed that serial killer vibes, which was a very good switch that he can turn on and off. So that's a great performance. And I do want to pick Casino Royale as one of my picks and leave
Oh,
or I'll
yeah,
leave it.
there goes
I'll
my
leave that
pick.
hanging fruit then. I'll do Valhalla Rising then.
Oh,
Valhalla
see,
Rising is
that
how I
was
met
good. That was
Matt.
like my honorable mention. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So Valhalla Rising was how I met Mads. One of back in my day when you used to just flip channels, and we had a few of those HBO channels. My dad, spending that money. Um, yeah, and I think it was on one of those random HBOs. This dude with just one eye, and I just was, I don't know. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch this. And the entire fucking movie, he doesn't say a word, yet you understand everything that he's thinking, everything that he's doing, everything that he wants to do, and Matt's just kills it. Like he is genuinely intimidating, and you can see emotions behind that one eye. Even though the makeup is not great, I'm just gonna say that. But the movie's awesome, and he's teaming up with Reffing Windingheim. I'm never gonna say the name.
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, that's I think.
And
right.
he did Pusher with him before, and Pusher 1 and 2, and he's pretty good in those two. So if you want to see how he started, that's how he legit started. Joe, how about you talk about
Yeah,
Casino Royale?
yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm the more Mads Mikkelsen version here of like what I've seen of his.
Oh, you just wait.
So
What? I was gonna pick Rogue One, where he's in it for 5 minutes.
he could have been great in that fucking movie if they just let. Anyway,
No, it'd be great.
They used him in they abuse. I will never get over how two biggest Disney franchises wasted him in the same year. It was like within 6 months of each other.
He used the
He was
same
in Rogue
bad
One
eye.
and Doctor Strange, and they both totally wasted him. He was useless.
For some reason, they both made his eyes like crackly. Like both had weird eye makeup shit going on.
Yeah, I mean that's more in the Doctor Strange. He's just like a normal guy in Rogue One.
No, I think in Rogue One he has like something. They have something going on. Oh,
you're wrong.
It's Casino Royale.
I'm wrong. All right,
you're wrong.
so Casino Royale. So, Le Chiffre. I don't know. He makes such a great. It's the best Bond movie. First of all, Casino Royale, especially the modern day ones.
100%.
And it's not like it's the Bond that introduced the world, saying, "Hey, these movies are gonna be good. They're gonna be modern day. They're not the corniness of the Pierce Brosnan, and they're not the 80s and the 70s. I like
they were like, "Hey, have you seen the Bourne movies?"
Yeah, that's kind of what they did. They kind of Bourne Identity James Bond. You were
This is
sneakers.
the internet. You can't like a movie without me telling you it fucking sucks.
But in it, you have Mads Mikkelsen playing this great fucking smooth, now classic Bond villain that doesn't get the love he deserves as a Bond villain.
I would say
That
he's definitely up there. I would consider him a top end Bond.
Very
I'm not a
yeah.
huge Bond guy, but like I would
That-
say he
that
holds his own.
their poker scene of like is so fucking intense where you get that like
Just watching
more introduction, they sit down. I don't know. It's just a good villain. It's a good Matt's performance.
Fun fact: he was actually crying blood from the makeup from Valhalla Rising. So it was real blood that he was crying.
Oh,
It's definitely a star-making turn for him.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say.
yes.
Like his sequence with Bond, like when he's smacking his balls, with that, so good.
It's such a brutal. Good lord, like
It's such a specific. It's such a specific torture device. Like
it's such
they were
a
like,
and like
he went to his henchman. And he's like,
Saul was big at the time.
stripping naked, cut a hole in a chair. I'm gonna smack his balls.
and there is something like that every man can relate to because of sitting on a toilet about your balls kind of dangling and feeling kind of vulnerable about that. You know, imagine if instead of some water splashing up on them, a big knotted rope hit them.
At full force.
Fucked up.
Huge
man.
balls. Daniel Craig, big balls.
Well, he's like a human potato, so he's got a big potato balls, probably.
I bet after that, like he had like swollen testicles for the rest of the Bond career, right?
That'd be amazing if like
That's why he was so
all
grumpy.
the Bond movies, he's like,
Yeah.
has to
Oh,
walk
come
all
here, bunny,
bow-legged
bunny.
'cause his
Balls.
nuts.
kind of surprised Austin Powers has to use that as like a villain type yet.
They have to come back first. They have to do another Austin Powers.
Just wait till Mike Myers finds a reason to make a fourth one.
He's got too much.
Well, that's the thing. Like the end of the Brosnan era and the whole Daniel Craig era have come and gone in the time since the last Austin Powers movie. So like, there's
Like
plenty to
2002.
mine from now. Like, imagine like you put Austin, instead of pairing him up with a woman this time, you pair him up with like a Daniel Craig Bond or a James like a Jason Bourne type, and so he's all like serious and tough and badass, and like Austin's like Austin,
Yeah.
They do that with
I
Greed.
wouldn't be shocked if Paramount Plus like threw him an absurd amount of money to like do a Austin Powers revival.
He's not doing anything else. You know what I mean? He's just chilling. Like he hadn't made a movie in
I
forever.
even fuck with Goldmember, even though it sucks. I watch it.
I love
I
Goldmember.
don't. Every couple of years, I'm like, that's actually probably funnier than you remember. Go back and watch it again, and I'm always disappointed. I'm always like, no, this sucks.
It's a bad movie, but I'll watch it.
I like them all.
Go.
I mean, now listen, the Love Guru.
No,
not
that's
good.
a piece of shit.
All right,
TJ,
let's
we
get
wanna
back on
pick a
Mass.
match?
Who's talking? Whose
Not
turn is it
good.
to talk about Mass? TJ.
TJ.
I don't watch Matt Mikkelsen films. I don't give a shit
All
about
right,
the.
Brian, Matt Mikkelsen movie.
Hey, but shout out Hannibal. It's one of the best series of all time. It should come back with the fourth season. I think it's one of the greatest things ever. Was it third? Should be fourth.
Fourth. It would be fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he plays an amazing Hannibal. I don't watch the fucking movies. I can't get through Doctor Strange. It's other than that, and then him fighting the polar bear.
What, you didn't watch The Hunt, the Danish movie where he's accused of being a pedophile? That's right up your alley.
What about Men and Chicken?
what the
That
fuck?
was like a movie I watched.
What
I
about
couldn't
like
get
The
through it,
Last
actually.
Drink or like something?
Another Round? Beautiful
Another round.
movie
Another
about
Another round was really good. In
Looking
fact,
on
I'm
IMDb.
surprised. I'm
Looking at
shocked
IMDb.
that Youssef didn't say Another Round.
I thought that was going to be your pick.
On his
My
IMDb on Google, it says he was in Thor: Dark World 2 or Thor 2: Dark World, and I was like, that's not
Oh,
real.
it was a mid-credit. It was a mid-credit scene.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, I don't fucking care about the guy. He's not. Tom Atkins is the guy in this podcast, not him.
He is.
Right? Or Tom Noonan. Shout out both those guys who also plays Red Dragon and Cannibal. The world's just coming together, boys. Hey, Brian, who you got? What you got?
Well, I mean, yeah, Another Round should definitely be at least brought up. It was an excellent movie. You can tell it was good because they're going to try to remake it in America. It's going to suck, but it was good. Go watch it. It's on Hulu.
Last Train to New
right
York.
now. And then there's another one on Hulu just from last year I really enjoyed, which was Riders of Justice. Is kind of a revenge story, but like a good revenge story, it doesn't go the way you think it's going to, and that's what you need. You can't just have the
Shout out the movie we're going to talk about.
Violence is good and the answer. That can't be your movie's point. So you got to do something different. But that was
Did
And
you
then
watch
Hannibal,
the one the Netflix one
Polar?
Polar?
It was alright. It was just kind of like one of those.
I thought it was
those
gonna be
Netflix
better.
action movies like Gunpowder Milkshake. They all kind of run together.
Yeah,
I was
Netflix really
my
hasn't done a good action movie, like a
no
truly
my
good
There's
movie.
there's a martial arts one that I watched.
Into the Darkness or something like that.
It's something like that.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. That's what it was. Thanks, TJ. Yeah, I think it was the one Yusef said, that Into the Dark or something like that. Or no.
Yeah, but
It
it's
was
that one is
decent.
like overly long, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was like a martial arts movie, but also really like grisly, gruesomely violent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super violent. Red
Time
Notice
Crisis.
sucked, dude. My uncle
I would
put
not
that
even watch that.
My
I
uncle
couldn't watch
put
the
that shit
trailer for that.
on back home
That
when in
dude,
Puerto
it
Rico, and I
looked
was like, what the
like
fuck?
all those actors. It looks like a fake fucking movie that would be in like a throwaway gag going to
Yo,
like, go to the
Literally
movies.
joke on 30 Rock or on like a movie.
Like fucking
and
Seinfeld.
spoiler,
Like Ryan Reynolds is doing a movie where he's playing himself, talking about all the shitty movies he's been in, and that's one of them. Like,
spoiler alert, The Rock and Gal Gadot like end up together, and that has to be like two paper bags trying to be a couple. Like
the
no
least
chemistry,
charismatic couple.
nothing. It was like two inanimate objects just standing next to each other,
And
and
they
the
just-
movie's like, ooh, they're in love. Look at it. Look, they want to fuck each other, and they're like,
Did you
just-
see? I was just watching. Somebody was tweeting about how like The Rock and Tom Cruise and like some of these like movie stars that still sell movies kind of off their name don't really have any like chemistry with any
Yeah.
love interest in any of their movies. And someone else pointed out to them that like Tom Cruise has much better chemistry with his male co-stars, and that The Rock had the best chemistry of his whole career with the gorilla from Rampage.
Yeah.
So
and it's actually something.
Stupid.
It's something weird because like
TJ.
you would think maybe with in the rundown probably that's his most chemistry that he's ever
Kevin
had with a
Hart.
co-star.
Him and Kevin Hart have good chemistry when they're movies together.
But Kevin, maybe, yeah, fine.
Kevin Hart and him get back together for that stupid animated DC pet film.
oh yeah, I had to see a trailer for that when I went to see Ghostbusters. It was unpleasant.
Yes.
Oh, how was
Every time if I'm watching something and it's animated and I hear the voice of Kevin Hart, I know that's a thing I will never need to see.
That's a kids movie, right?
Secret Life of Pets?
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Secret Life of Pets, what if it was dark?
I said a kids movie. I gave you like an in. I said,
I've been
hey,
good on the
that's a
segues
kids
all
movie.
fucking day. Now you.
Why did you go with Secret Life of Pets, man?
I didn't pick Secret Life of Pets. I was trying to fucking segue.
I know, but I'm stepping on your segue.
All right.
It's the worst. This podcast is the
It's
worst.
vengeance.
We're terrible. All right, so I saw this weekend. I saw this really disturbing image and like poem on TikTok of this like Winnie the Pooh, but like what if it was like actually like dark, and it was like Christopher Robin like marching like kids he kidnapped and dressed them up like Winnie the Pooh characters, and it's kind of gave them a little insight. It was very imaginative.
Peter
So what I asked the guys
Serial
is,
killer Christopher Robin, I think it was called, or something like that.
so what I asked the guys is, what's a children's story that you would like make that would make a gruesome tale? So whoever wants to start first, feel free.
I'll go.
Brian, please. This would be a
this
fun
movie that
out
I
of the box
actually
question.
enjoy that I watched a couple of years ago. And then I actually did a DVD bunker on it, so you can check that out. It's called Burning Bright, and it's about a guy who locks his stepdaughter and her brother, her autistic brother, in a house and sets loose a hungry tiger. The house is all boarded up for a hurricane, and he sets loose a hungry tiger in the house, hoping that it will kind of the situation will just take care of itself.
Sure.
What the fuck?
It's a good, and it was very tense and suspenseful movie because when you have a wild animal in the mix, it's
like
always
Crawl?
Huh? What?
Like Crawl? That really shitty alligator movie?
Yeah, no, but good. Like a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Word up.
Anyway, so what I was thinking was like a Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but like similar to that, where you have just a girl by herself locked in a house with 3 full-size bears.
Well,
Just like
Brian. One has
what?
to be large. One has to be medium.
Well,
one
they
has
can
to
all be. I guess I just wanted to make sure that nobody's a cub. They're
Brian,
all
you gotta
dangerous. Nobody's.
stay
I
loyal
know
to
that
the
they're all
source
of age to do damage, so they're all adults. One can be enormous, like a Kodiak. That'll be the dad. You know, the mom can be like just a terrifyingly large bear, and then the baby can
They all have
be.
a little distinction to them, so you like
Yeah.
see the tail metaphor in the movie.
Right, sure. And
Yeah,
she would like.
one should be just right.
Yeah, and she should try to throw like hot porridge at them or something. You know what I mean? There would be different
That's fun.
things would tie in, but it could get really, it could get scary because bear movies are very scary. If you ever seen Backcountry, that's a really fun bear movie.
Hell yeah, that's a great movie.
The Country Bears with Haley Joel Osment.
Has anyone ever seen Grizzly Maze?
Brother Bear, that's a racist Disney cartoon.
Threw me off with that one.
Gay bears.
All right, yeah, hell yeah. Yusuf?
Yeah.
Yusuf?
What?
Peter Piper. I think that one's pretty straightforward. I feel like the actual original story was pretty fucked up. Even though Disney or not.
What's the story, please?
Peter Piper.
No, tell us what did it like? What the details
can I
of it is.
Can I get to it?
Sorry.
Like I
was doing the rhyme.
I was building to it. God damn, we're killing it today. Like the original story is pretty fucked up. Disney tried to make it cute with the rats and all that shit, but the original story was really just this dude was kidnapping kids. So it could be like a very kind of like that Ethan Hawke movie that's coming out right now. That type of serial killer that just takes kids. This dude with a flute, just playing this magical music that kids cannot resist. And
what did you call
them off?
Peter Piper?
Yeah, Peter Piper.
Pied Piper.
Sorry, Peter Piper. Peter.
Picked a pack of pickled peppers. A pack of pickled peppers, Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? That's not the same thing that I'm thinking of.
No, pay the Pied Piper.
Yeah, the Pied Piper.
Oh, the dude with the rat.
The flute.
Yeah,
the rats follow him. That's
why I asked Yusuf to explain the story to us.
You can have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes type vibe.
No, but I said the rats. Like he plays the flute, and the rats come out of the town, and the people pay him. And if they don't pay him, he takes the kids, and he brings back the rats or whatever the case may be. So yeah, he's a fucking serial killer that plays the flute, and people can't resist his flute, and he kills them. Essentially, like that would be an easy way to make a serial killer out of a children's story. That's my pitch.
I like it.
I got something.
No, you don't. Just off the dome. I doubt you're gonna get something there.
It's literally off fucking dome. If you wind back, you can see my brain going. Just come up with something really bad. Anyway, I'm thinking with this one, kind of same thing that you are, Yusuf. Old like rhyme, Jack and Joe, not Adam Sandler's Jack and Joe before you even fucking say it. Oh, to fetch a pail of water.
Let me just go refresh my Dunkaccino.
No. All right, so picture this. Shailene Woodley, okay? Aaron Rodgers, starring the first film together. They're climbing Mount Everest, right? Aaron Rodgers dies right away, Drew Barrymore style. But there is a Fountain of Youth rumor myth about Mount Everest, right? So Shailene Woodley spends her entire time going up that mountain to find that thing to go tumbling after to bring back a zombie Aaron Rodgers with COVID, more than likely. No vaccination card. Shout out Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback in the league. I just feel
that dude
like
looks like shit.
fucking whip a ball off his hands. Guys, you guys see me at the when I was doing the thing? You know what I mean? I was a good high school quarterback. I just feel like this is like one of those like I've never seen Hansel and Gretel yet. Not the Jeremy Renner, the other one, but
they're both.
The new horror one.
They're fucking both good.
Are
Hansel
they?
and Gretel Witch Hunters, and then Gretel and Hansel, which is the horror one that was done by
they're good.
Oz Perkins last year. And you know what? They're fucking both good.
They're
Yeah,
both good.
watch those. I will watch those. I'm thinking like something stupid like that. Maybe we
Like a Drag Me to Hell vibe with fucking.
Paramount Plus will make it a TV series, Joe. You think it's a
We're
movie?
just we're
TV
just giving money
even
to
better.
Paramount Plus for everything.
I was gonna say, why we're picking the one we've referenced multiple times the one that we none of us watch. Like,
I bought it one time to watch Spider-Man.
Peacock.
All right, fine. Apple TV. Apple TV
Yeah,
can go.
All right, be on Apple TV.
But
no
you
one.
have-
I'm actually not even convinced Apple TV exists.
Yeah, but Apple TV, you have to cast someone like a lot bigger than Aaron Rodgers. You probably have to get like Tom. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, like a Jack and
Tom
Jill,
Jones.
really fucking stupid. They just take the concept of the dumb idea and just stretch it out as far as they can to make it as much minimum money as they can, because he's not going to make a lot of money. None of these movies are going to make a lot of money. It's the most like minimum thing you're going to get on like maybe a Thanksgiving weekend. Shout out Thanksgiving turkeys when this comes out.
Great.
You're up.
So
Joe.
I
was your pick,
basically
Joe?
my pick. I stole it. I was just gonna take it right there. One of those like gruesome theory, like fan conspiracy theories that come out every once in a while. And one that always bothered me was the Rugrats. I don't know if anyone has ever heard the Rugrats theory of this, but it fit this.
Explain it.
Thank you, Yusuf.
Yeah, what's the theory, Joe?
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell us the theory?
Hold on,
No.
wait, Joe. Tell me a theory.
All right, thanks, TJ.
When are you gonna
All
get
right.
to the part where we know the theory?
You said
All the
put the
baby,
idea of it right here. Just like, all right, here you go, read it.
all the babies are dead, minus Dill. And the whole show is like what we kind of saw, but like from the other perspective of actually this, because I think that would be creepy. So like Chucky, Chucky died in childbirth with his mother. That's why she's fucking dead and he's around. Tommy was a stillbirth, and that's why he's so like adventurous and like whimsical. Phil and Lil were actually one child of an unknown gender that was aborted by their parents. And this is why all their traits kind of fit each one of those tragedies. But this is all in the mind of Angelica, who is just assuming what it would be like to have other children around, since she's a lonely only child with shitty parents.
Wow,
That's a theory. That's an actual like online theory people have about the Rugrats, and some people have written it pretty fucking
Why
gross.
is she so mean to them then? If she's just imagining being with them.
Well,
it's not ironclad.
He's bullying all of us nonstop. He's Angelica. I'm Tommy, because obviously
Because you're stillborn.
I'm not gonna
Um,
Chucky is red hair.
and you know what's funny?
Oh, you said definitely Chucky.
Sure. You know what's funny? I was thinking about it too. Is the series out there, and there's a fucking episode of Rugrats where they do A Wonderful Life without Chucky, if Chucky was never born, and it's fucking dark. Does anyone remember that episode?
Sounds dark. I
Like
don't remember
Chucky's
that at
going
all.
around, and his dad it has a sock puppet pretending is his best friend,
yes.
and like Phil and Lil live in fucking filth because their parents can't get their shit together, and like Tommy's basically homeless. It's a really good episode, but it's kind of this theory just actually done in the show.
Weird. That's a weird. One.
I like that show, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good theory. Go on. The internet has a lot of good if you just type in cartoon like horror theories of like alternate ways they should be. Like SpongeBob is it's kind of implied that it's actually the nuclear testing center. Like they're all supposed to be from the nuclear blast, which might not even be a theory. Yeah, which might not even be a theory. That might be legitimately the explanation of the show because of Bikini Bottom, Bikini Atoll.
Yeah.
Could you imagine watching like Rocko's Modern Life and Heifer's just like keeping bodies in his basement the entire time?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm with that. Ren and
Fucking
Stimpy. It's like Stimpy isn't actually Stimpy. It's Ren in a Stimpy suit, and he's just wearing the skin and the whole. For days.
When trying to think
Or
of an
imagine
answer
if like
for,
the guy who created Ren and Stimpy like groomed 15-year-old girls and flew them out to Hollywood, and then like was in relationships with them, and everybody on set knew about it, and like who worked on the show knew.
So I was trying to. You guys actually might be able to help me out. I was trying to think of those. I thought
Shut the fuck up for a second. Hey, Ryan.
You just got destroyed.
Oh man,
Yes.
is that real? That's real.
that's
That is
real.
for real.
That's very real. Yeah, no, I know what Brian exactly was talking about.
I'm just gonna
But
put
I-
you on screen while you react to Brian saying it.
Just zoom in on TJ. I'm like, wait, what?
I don't like that. Okay, keep
That's
going.
the really real shit
No,
right
I
there.
think you guys got me out though because I was trying to think of a story. I thought a cat dog would have been a good like alternative gruesome tale, but I couldn't think of a
Cat
fucking
dog's
good
gruesome
idea.
just at all. Like, it's got 2 heads and no asshole.
Yeah,
What
like
the hell's
why
going
is
on with
that?
I think
Cat
Chicken
Dog?
Little, like,
Did you
could
imagine?
actually get like. Have you guys seen Melancholia, where the entire world is waiting for the moon to land on top of the Earth and just
Oh,
destroy it?
that movie's coming out now. It's called Moonfall.
No,
right?
no, Melancholia came out. Kristen Dunst
It's
is in it.
yeah.
But Chicken
I
Little,
am
and
aware.
actually the world ends, and it's very fucked up, and I would watch that.
Yeah, no,
My
that's
other
a good.
pitch.
I didn't realize any of these fucking movies. I never seen Chicken Run, by the way. But
Chicken Little.
Brian ruined this entire episode for me. I'm just my head.
I'm just realizing that I am like unhealthily obsessed with celebrities who get away with committing crimes. So like,
It's
You
why
figured
you
it
won't
it's
see.
on my mind.
So
It's
now I
why
have
you won't see that
Twitter.
Ren and Stimpy creator in any of the Nicktoons documentaries that pop up now.
Now I have to go to Twitter. I have to make a video of me throwing out any Ren and Stimpy Blu-rays, DVDs that I have in a trash
I
can.
have all the DVDs and I've watched them recently because they're.
No, Joe, you just threw them out.
I threw them out. I'm sorry, they're out. I'm completely wipe
Oh,
my hands
those
of that.
Just
All right,
not.
so let's throw away this segment and go to the movie.
The movie. This was my pick. This is my episode, so this was my pick. This is a little movie I saw actually in the theater. It came out in '99, I think.
Yes.
This is Arlington Road, starring Jeff Bridges and Tim Robbins and Joan Cusack. And
It was like
Tony
either you
Stark's
watch
mom.
Star Wars or you watch Arlington Road. That's only
Actually,
options in
I
90.
remember also at the same theater. I was living down in Virginia. I saw the same theater. I saw South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, and The Sixth Sense at this theater.
Shout out.
So that's the era we're in. That's the era.
Well, the kid that kid is that kid is unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
He's also
This
Gladiator.
is
He's a Gladiator
Flyer
and
of State
Unbreakable.
of-
Yeah.
Oh, the kid is in Unbreakable Gladiator, and the other kid is fucking Dennis the Menace.
Oh, yeah, he's a little older in this one. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Grady
Yeah,
is
Grady.
Dennis the Menace.
Great opening. We got a great opening where Jeff Bridges comes upon a child with his hand blown off, which is
He's a
something
menace.
you don't see every day. That wacky Dennis the Menace had a cherry bomb in his slingshot and held on a little too long.
Yep.
And blew a couple of his fucking fingers off. But I'll give a quick plot synopsis because some of you guys hadn't seen this movie or even heard of it. So
Yeah, it's a forgotten movie.
Most people probably haven't. So let me run through the plot, at least basic for people. Jeff Bridges plays a professor at a college who teaches like classes about terrorism and probably other historical topics. He, like I said, finds a young boy wandering the road who's had an accident, and in taking him to the hospital and getting him help, he meets the kid's parents, who are Tim Robbins and Joan Cusack, who are like new to the neighborhood, and they strike up a friendship. But then Jeff Bridges starts to become suspicious of Tim Robbins because he's getting like weird pieces of mail, and he's kind of lying about where they're coming from, and so Jeff Bridges starts to investigate a little bit. And also should be noted that Jeff Bridges had a wife who was killed. She was an FBI agent. She was killed in a botched raid on a compound on like a militia kind of gun family of gun nuts kind of deal.
And we get.
But it's important to note that the FBI this is a pre 9/11 movie where you're still allowed to portray cops as idiots and making mistakes, and so they do.
Shout out Bloods.
Anyway, and then as it plays out, Jeff Bridges, I won't go into spoiler territory yet. I don't know how this is a spoiler show, but we can talk about that as we go. But anyway, Jeff Bridges investigates further and finds out that Tim Robbins and his family are maybe not quite what they seem. And
we'll probably like
tense, paranoid thriller. It's the kind of adult thriller that they don't make anymore.
It's a bad movie.
It would never come out in the theaters these days. This is a straight to streaming release in the year 2021.
Yeah.
No one is.
It's a little too long, but I see
what's it, like an hour 40? That's not so bad.
2 hours.
Yeah. It's 2 hours.
Is it 2 full hours? Okay.
2 full hours. But I do see it like a TNT movie. Like a cool TNT movie.
Yeah, it's a great Sunday afternoon TNT. Oh, this looks neat.
Take a 20-minute nap in the middle. You won't miss much, you know.
I was going to say Shout Out Breakdown, which I would assume would be the same type of thing. We talked about this before. I watch TNT and TBS religiously on Sundays from fucking 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. at night when I fell asleep for school next day. But, like, I've never seen this movie in that stretch ever. It's always, like, The Goonies, followed by so-and-so, followed by so-and-so. But, like, this movie deserves to be, if not, like, a solid place in these type of, like, channels. Like, I've never seen this movie. Obviously, I don't know if this is the first time for everybody.
It is me, yeah.
But, like, this movie...
Yeah, nobody had seen it but me, right? Yeah.
If I would have seen this before, this could have been, like, episode 55 for me.
TJ, this movie needs to go like Arlington Road, and then up next, Murder at 1500,
or like the Tim Robbins Sunday,
yeah.
And after Shawshank, this comes on, like you know.
But
Jacob's Ladder plays at night, you know.
What's wild is
that's
this
good.
movie,
Jacob's Ladder, good.
Although being that we are doing a little disservice because this movie is pretty fucking wild, right? Like
this movie is the type of movie that upsets me. We'll get into it because
I think it starts off for me. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be your normal like crime thriller. The game of cat and mouse. He's gonna suspect the neighbors. When I realize the terrorists, suspect the neighbors are terrorists. Get close. Plot's foiled. That's the movie, right? That's the movie in my head. And I think you get a really one of the most amazing parts of this movie is Joan Cusack.
Yeah,
Joan Cusack is so much fun in this fucking movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she plays that fucking Addams Family Values like to a T almost, where you don't know the background at all, and you don't even think that maybe. There's one scene that obviously gives it away. Blah blah blah. But like when it comes to these type of fucking films, like with you guys, and I'm watching these fucking movies, all I'm thinking of the whole time is like, why did I pick this first? And I'm not giving you a shout out, Brian. It's like one of those things where like, how haven't I seen this? No one's seen this type of movie before. Yeah. It's just, it falls in the cracks. I mean, it's 99. It's like pre, 2000.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There was just like we didn't realize we had a glut of like thrillers for grown-ups that you could just go to like the theater and there's one coming out every couple of weeks. We didn't know. They just don't make movies like this.
It's kind of wild.
Not mainstream movies like this. There's plenty of them on Netflix and on Hulu and shit. But like you don't get your straight coming to the theater with like your big stars and shit.
It's wild. Earlier in this show, we were talking about like TV series. Like there's too many series out. Fucking Googled Arlington Road today. First thing comes up from April. It's not even an old article. Being like Arlington Road TV series in development. I literally actually think on Paramount Plus. I'm not even making a joke here. And it's like, why? Like, it's not a bad idea for a fucking TV series, but like, what a random piece of IP that they were going to.
It's not even like 12 Monkeys, which is something people kind of remember. It's literally something nobody remembers.
No. I'll tell you who remembers this movie. My dad, when I vaguely explained it to him on Thanksgiving on Thursday, and I go, "Oh yeah, I think I remember that movie."
But like, can we talk about that series though? But like, I mean, again, we're still in like the vague explaining, just in case somebody hasn't seen it, and we sell it enough for them to see, and then we go into spoilers. But like, I feel like, what would that series focus on, since the theme of it would, unless it's just a limited series and it ends the same way, unless you want to focus on the terrorist organization.
I was gonna say, I
Like
think
the
you had more, a
Americans?
little more both sidesing, you know, in
Yeah.
it. You would like see from, you know, you would follow both sets of characters a little bit more,
Let's just
probably.
say-
Probably more like the Americans.
Yeah,
God,
something like the
America's
Americans,
such a
sure.
disease. God damn
I'm gonna be fully like open with you guys. This was almost my pass. You know what I mean? Don't
Me
have
too,
that.
TJ.
We don't
I
talk
almost
about.
just didn't have time.
We don't have a pass that we'll make a joke of if we ever pass the movie. Brian's done it once. I think
I
he's the
did
only
do
one
it.
who's done it.
Did it.
I almost did it, but I watched the trailer and it got me sucked in. So I just have questions. Kind of fast forwarding. Don't mean to spoil this, but the
I was
whole.
gonna say, if we can get into spoilers now,
There's
like
spoilers.
I said,
That's
everybody's fairly positive
spoilers.
on this. If you
Oh,
like
yeah.
a good dad movie, a
Watch
little
it.
tense thriller, it's got good actors in it, you know, give it a watch, right? You would at least say give it a chance. Everybody
Tim
here would say?
Robbins gives a really
100%.
fun performance.
Yeah, okay. So we're going into spoiler territory from here on out.
This movie doesn't end the way you want it to.
No,
But my question
I was
is,
upset.
I was watching this on a very low volume on a train. At the very end, last like 45 minutes, which you probably shouldn't do. But he visits the dad.
Yeah, it was
It's
kind of
the
confusing.
Tim Robbins is talking about. It's a because Jeff Bridges does this class on terrorism.
Yeah.
One of the
That was
people
so
he teaches
convenient.
about. One of
Was
the
it
guys
on
he's-
purpose or was it convenient? A coincidence?
what do
No,
you
it
mean?
looked like they targeted. I think
Did
the
he
ending
move
tells you
in front of him on purpose,
Yeah.
or was it
I
coincidence?
feel like they target Jeff Bridges because of
It was
what
on
happened with
purpose.
his wife.
Okay.
Because he could
Yeah.
already be. He teaches the class about it. He's got a wife. He lost the wife to that, so he makes a good scapegoat. I do feel like
And
You're
the
thinking
group
they
targets him.
You're thinking
and
way back and kind of
Yeah.
were like, this guy's been involved with some shit. We'll live next to him. If anything fucking jumps off.
I mean, I'm sure they didn't plan for their kid to blow his hand off. That wasn't part of it.
and
But like, I think whatever would have happened, they would have hooked up with him probably.
you're missing the key there. And the fucking student who was in his class, who was one of the
Yeah, it
conspirators,
was framed.
who helped frame Jeff Bridges at the
At
end.
the end,
It's all
yeah.
a plant. She was in there. She's been in his class enrolled.
Can we talk about? I tweeted about this. This is like a huge thing that has bothered me for years about this movie, right? So he's dating Jeff Bridges. His wife is dead, but he's got like a former teacher's aide. He's dating.
Fucking obsessed with his dead wife. Like,
Which
let
is,
it go.
Hope. What's her name? Hope Davis, who's Tony Stark's mom, right?
Would I
Yeah.
stay?
She's okay. So in the movie, she doesn't believe him. Obviously, it's just like classic paranoid movie. He's starting to figure some things out, but she doesn't believe him. Oh, they're just our nice neighbors. But then she sees some suspicious shit with Tim Robbins, like switching cars. She follows him. She's like, "Oh, I saw it." She calls Jeff Bridges. I saw some shit. And then Joan Cusack comes upon her at the store, and the next thing you know, she's in a car accident and she dies. Now, you never see her body, and you never hear a person actually say the words to Jeff Bridges. And because of the conspiratorial nature of the movie, also you wouldn't be you would be forgiven if maybe like one of the cops was in on it and like told him she was dead.
Yeah.
Because at the very end of the movie, when the final shit is going down, there's a girl with a blonde ponytail
Looks
who is
just like her.
who is the teacher or the student you're talking about, and I have always thought it was her and that they had turned his girlfriend on him or like she had always been in on it. But I'm watching it this time and I'm like,
The
and
earpiece.
I'm like racking my brain because it's definitely like the way it's filmed. It wasn't like
So,
that,
Brian,
and it finally took Sarah to just be like, "That's not her. That's a different actress."
Yeah.
And I tripled down on this.
So,
I like was
Brian.
arguing with Sarah about it, and she made me look very stupid.
So, no, Brian, I thought the same thing. I'm not even kidding. I thought the same thing. I rewound it. Like, I was like, okay. And then I'll be honest.
She's on the phone, she's got the earpiece, and she's kind of they're filming her from an up angle. She really looks like
she
the
looks
girlfriend.
just like her.
But at the
I
end,
thought I
when
went.
there's a little confessional, it's definitely not her.
I went to the Wikipedia, and in the last paragraph it says reveals one of the conspirator. Like kind of what I just said. I think they use conspirator says on TV confirming implicating him in the murder. And I was like, okay, they would have said in the description his girlfriend,
yeah, who faked her death or something.
looked
But
just
I'm
like
sure,
her.
I've seen this movie half dozen times over 20 years, and that's something that
You're
has
the
bothered
only one.
me. And it took my wife to just be like, "No, dummy, that's just a different actress."
So I was like,
She watched
No,
it
it's a good
one
question.
time.
It's a good question.
And
I
I
watched it
doubled. I
once.
thought I was like, "Oh, you look up your phone for 2 minutes, and you think you know what's going on." I mean, she really made me look foolish.
I think that wouldn't be a bad little twist at the end to really
no.
dig it
So
in.
I
It just
was,
wasn't paid. It wasn't planted well. It was like
yeah.
if they want to do that, they messed up in the way they performed that character. That's what was always got me. I was like, she doesn't seem like there's no indication she's in on it. They would have had to have turned her, like, and how would that have happened?
And
And
an
like,
interaction with Joan Cusack wouldn't have made sense.
right. Her calling him wouldn't have made sense and stuff like that. So no, shout out
So
to
I was
Sarah.
watching
She was
the
right.
movie.
She cleared
I was watching the
this up.
movie. I was watching the movie, and they kept harping on. I feel like this is probably some things that they could have cut down and just have his field trip. But they were harping on, like, who was the bad guy, and like people just wanting to know the name, and establishing guilt or hate or
You scapegoat
paranoia
that one person that you
on
can
that
like.
one person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for. There were twists, because there were a lot of them, but the main twist that I kept waiting for was like Tim Robbins being a good guy, and him being consumed by paranoia, and actually like him being like teaching what he's not applying, like him wanting Tim Robbins to be a bad guy, because that would be,
That would be
justification
the easy
for all.
answer for him. Yeah.
So that's what I kept waiting for. Like the other twists were cool, but
That's an interesting
like,
idea. It would have been cool to have something like that in it too. But
but
I do I really
Tim Robbins,
enjoy the
I knew
way
Tim
this
Robbins
kind of
was a bad guy
plays
when he
out.
was drinking milk. Like
Yeah.
I knew Tim Robbins was bad news when he was having dinner, having political discussions while drinking a glass of milk. Like I was like,
Laura's
yep,
theory. Hey,
bad guy.
Laura's theory. That's Laura's
I was gonna
theory,
say,
right?
you had that whole scene
I'm
where
gonna
like
stand for this milk slander. Okay,
Bad guy.
we're a milk family here.
Bad guy
You
right
can't
there.
tell by my face. This is a milk family.
you had that whole scene where he had like Jeff Bridges kind of realized a lot of things. He shows up in the backyard. He's having a huge party, and he shows up
Love
his
that party. I love it.
He's like that whole like fucking scene where it's like the two dudes and Joan Cusack and Tim Robbins, where he's like screaming at him. Look, Tim Robbins is a big guy. What, maybe 6'5", 6'6" ish.
Yeah,
Big
I
guy.
think he's
Is he that
6'6",
tall?
6'7".
I think Jeff Bridges could beat the shit out of Tim Robbins. The physicality that they give to Tim Robbins in this is
Yeah.
kind of out of bounds.
He's
But
got
I
big
respect
Pete
it.
Davidson energy here. He's all.
He's gangly.
Huge Pete Davidson energy. It's like one of those things where, like, I feel like because they show Jeff Bridges, I don't know why they do this. They did in Iron Man. They do it in a couple movies where he's in bed shirtless, just for no fucking reason.
Gotta get the guns out, baby.
Maybe it's in his contract.
This director loves dark contrast. It's like fade to
Oh,
black.
yeah.
Fucking, it's just a small screen with one light focusing on the main director with the main.
And it
So
was
the scene where the kids are playing and Jeff Bridges is like, "All right, clean up. We're gonna have dinner." I was like, I thought it was midnight.
That's what I thought. I'm like, he's like, don't fire big firecrackers, and you're like, wait a minute, what time is he? He's like, I'm about to start dinner. You're like, it feels like it's 9 o'clock at night. And I'm watching.
That's what I said.
So
yeah, they were
looked
like,
up.
I wonder if he's a bad guy, and they're like,
yeah, like wait a minute.
I
But
looked
like
up this.
type of things like with this movie is like it focuses on those type of moments, but they threw the Joan Cusack thing at me. Even the little girls, which I didn't know he had little girls. Again, the volume was super low with this movie. I think it's like one of the quietest.
The creepy daughters. He's got a couple of shining daughters.
No idea they were in there, but then she's like, "That's my daddy's."
they did not buy his story at all. He's like, nope, you're not coming in here, bitch. And he's
The
like,
little girl
this
busts
was
him
the
out,
phone.
which is like, "And your phone."
But it worked. It all goes back to the flashback of his wife when she's talking to the little boy, and she's like, "Oh, we're here to help you," and he's like, "Fuck y'all." Grabs a fucking gun and starts unloading on people. You're like,
Dude,
oh,
How do we feel? I want to ask because like this movie has a pretty like anti-government message, and the anti-government people win in the end. So like,
Yeah.
like you, not only could you never make this movie now, but I also feel like it's more prescient now than ever. Like, I feel like there's way more Tim Robbinses out there than there were in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
In 1999, the like Michigan militia thing felt like a niche. It felt like a, you know, like you could make a movie like this because it was something so obscure that there would be this like American terrorist organization. Now that seems like par for the course.
It's
Like,
kind of like those things. Like even when they go back to that party where it fucked me up for a minute because I'm like, is everybody in on this? Because Jeff Bridges walks in, and they have like a whole LSD moment.
the guy who was working on his phone is at the bar and stuff.
And everyone's having fun, but then when they bring him inside and they do like, he's like, you're all fucked up, and he grabs and pulls his like, we're fucked up, and starts laughing and dancing with him. So then you get a shot from the window of like a POV of the people at the party, seeing him kind of like moving with Jeff Bridges, and you're like, all right, it's a small little group of people. They just have a whole onset of like acting, like obviously with everybody else, but they're just trying to make it look like Jeff Bridges is having a good time, I guess, essentially. But I'm thinking everybody's in on it. I'm like, is this movie like a whole conspiracy film, or is it just a small group of?
He definitely had
People
I think there's definitely a bigger, like basically I would say everybody at the house at they're in that party at least knows what's up.
Yeah.
Whether they're
There's a lot of
actively
people at
participating
that.
or not.
Well, the earlier party too, the welcome home party, right? To the kid.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking part. Like, it's a big party. And I was like, how do they know all these people?
Yeah, they're
Being
supposed
like,
to be new to the neighborhood, but there's all these
yeah.
people there and stuff. Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think they were all just in their terrorism group, and it's like, hey, guy, like, I mean, they like to have cake
Well, and
too.
at the end, after, I mean, not to jump all the way to the very end, but like they have Joan Cusack and Tim Robbins have a conversation where it's like, where are they going to send us next? So there's like an oversight committee who sends this terrorist cell to like different spots to do these, you know,
Like,
these attacks.
Thing?
It's something like that.
Yeah,
It's
like Joe
something
said,
like-
like the Americans, essentially.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
Only
fucking
the Americans are Americans in this one.
I will say, I send you guys
Kansas State, right?
jumping.
What?
What?
Tim Robbins is out of Kansas State.
Yeah.
Or Kansas. But this
Yeah.
whole movie takes place in Virginia, Washington, D.C. area where the
Yeah.
camping and the camp.
Yeah, Langley.
But Tim Robbins had that guy. I don't know because the volume was so low when I was watching this movie on the train. Is that his dad that Jeff Bridges visited and he gives him a picture?
Okay. We were talking about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So that is a guy that Jeff teaches about. There's a when Jeff teaches the thing that you said was talking about the guy who he does a terrorist attack and then he's like a lone, you know, he's found to be a lone attacker and like it's all gets pinned on him. He's the scapegoat.
But he was murdered.
It's that guy's dad. That guy, he also dies in the attack. It's that guy's dad, and that guy is like, "There's no way my son would have done this without help, without provocation. There were kids in that building. My son never would have blown up kids. You know, he never would have done that." So that's another thing that leads Jeff Bridges to believe that like he was being manipulated by Tim Robbins, probably.
Well, my whole thing is like that's Kansas State, so we're like here on the map, and then West Virginia, Washington D.C. ish. You know what I mean? It's like, how does that camp have? And they got the guy with glasses, the bald
I
dude.
mean, you think about it a little too much, it falls apart. I think that you think you're thinking.
Well, I mean, I guess you would just say that the whole like there's a whole group of them that move into an area and they like get jobs in places where they're needed and they kind of like set up and they set this thing off. It's a very highly, you know, specialized. It's a place where, you know, it's conspiratorial for sure. The idea that there's a shadow group that like controls these American terrorists. Like this guy sent Dylan Roof in to go shoot a bunch of people at a mosque or whatever.
I did think it was pretty funny that when he was going through the newspaper articles, like in discovering Tim Robbins, it was BLM terror. It was the headline was like BLM terrorist or pipe bomber, just because of modern day BLM, but they were referring to like where he's from.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought about the movie itself though. I thought the flashback though to the wife dying, which was like a good one, like 10-minute flashback. Like it was a long. It was kind of just like thrown in the middle of the movie. Like this movie, I like it. Don't get me wrong. There's some weird editing in this fucking movie. The last 45 minutes or 35 minutes is a different
I was thinking, I really like that scene. I love the way Jeff Bridges, like that could have been a monologue. Him like telling that story and us seeing it as he tells it could have gone on our monologue list earlier. It's really good. He does a really great job performing it. I thought the shootout itself looked cheap. Like, TV action looks better than this now. 20 years have gone by, and like your average like action sequence on a TV show looks, if FBI agents stormed a gun crazy family's compound, it would be a lot flashier than this.
Can you imagine going on a field trip and your professor just starts
That's what I'm
bawling?
saying. So intense.
Oh my god!
You're like, what the fuck?
Also, his wife
so
took double
fucking
barrel
intense.
to the face. Can
Yeah,
we talk
she's
about
done.
that? She got annihilated. She didn't just get murdered. She turned into a mist.
And the new wife is over it. He's like,
Yeah.
stop talking about this bitch.
And also,
Stop it.
she was his graduate student and shit before she died. And like, she's all like, "Oh, nothing happened. Oh, but now you're back, eh?" Like,
Can I ask a question? How do you use shotguns?
I think there's some guilt there.
I've
I mean,
never
maybe
shot
it's
a
only
gun.
died. But I
Yusef,
think there's some guilt there.
What?
Yusef, you ever shot a gun?
Yeah.
Okay. Brian, you ever shot a gun? What kind of gun?
I've shot a pistol and a shotgun.
Okay. Can you said shot shotgun, double barrel, maybe? No?
I think over under was the kind of.
Have you ever held a baby and one-handedly
one-handed a double barrel shotgun?
double barrel shotgun in someone's fucking face?
There's YouTube videos of women just breaking their faces trying to shoot a shotgun one-handed.
It's like that girl is just like, and they have that like a minute and a half where it's like basically.
Well,
What
she's
they
a
don't tell you
redneck.
is the girl who shot the shotgun died also.
Yeah.
She's a redneck.
Only the baby survived.
So,
That's
my first thought when I saw this though is, I mean, it's not too much, but immediately it was like, there's a fucking Simpsons episode with this, or a Simpsons episode with a similar ass plot in a later season, and it's not a good episode. It's an 18. It's Homer suspects that his Bart's new Muslim friend, his parents, is a terrorist, and because he sees. What reminded me of the episode was he sees fucking like building plans.
Oh yeah.
The guy's
an architect or something. Yeah.
The guy's an architect, and it turns out he's just demolishing like the mall, the abandoned mall in Springfield, and not that. And the whole episode, Homer paranoid running around.
Yeah.
The subplot is terrible with Lisa and the iPod. You might remember that.
Kind of.
The My Pod. Anyway, it's not a good episode. It's a really embarrassing Simpsons episode. It probably came out in like 2003 or 4, but it was so fucking
right at the height of our post 9/11 patriotism.
Yeah. Because it was supposed to be like, no, they're not terrorists at the end, but it's still just like, it doesn't need to be a joke there. But yeah. Anyway, that episode fucking immediately I was like, this is The Simpsons. I've seen this, and then it gets super dark because it's not at all.
Can we go back to the beginning real quick?
Oh yeah.
And he picks up the kid and he wraps him up right, and he's calling 911, and he's like, "I'm driving the kid down there," and the emergency lady's like,
"I'm bringing a kid in,"
and he's like, and the emergency is like, "What's the emergency?" "I don't know." It's like, you saw his hand. You could say like he blew his fucking hand off. Like, I'm going in. He's like, "I don't know. I'm on the way."
Also, I talked about it a little bit earlier. Jeff Bridges, clean shaven and just pulling face all through this movie. So many like, and like at the very end, we haven't got to the finale because I do want to talk about it. But when he's like running at the end and he's literally like,
this is full sweat.
Like he's just working so hard. And me and Yusuf tweeted about it a little bit, but it's been so long since I've seen him come out from behind a beard and not be the caricature of Jeff Bridges that we're used to. Like, act with his regular face. And his
he has so many movies like this too.
Well, the
from
breathing
that era.
This, to Joe's point now, is the breathing this kind of reminds me of the very end of Hell or High Water, where he's going to Ben Foster's character. He's like, and it's just like just sweat off the brows. He's like, "I'm gonna make a shot," and he's like,
he's real sweaty by the end.
It's just like that character at the end of this movie. I felt the exact same thing for the character at the end of that movie, even though one succeeded. Obviously, in this fucking movie, did not.
Yeah, let's talk about the finale. I'm ready. I wanted to talk about it.
That generally shocked me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the finale.
I feel like the
really
finale saved it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was kind of wavering off to it, like not in a bad way. I was like, okay, it can end. I'm fine with it. I get it.
But you kind of figured you knew where it was going. You're like, okay, wrap it up. Get it over with.
Which
is fine. That's fair.
But once like they open the van and he's like, everybody's authorized except you. Everybody's authorized except you. And I was like, oh, that's
And he looks
good.
back at the car and like, but like the whole thing with him, like, you know, first of all, the fact that you didn't figure out that junior discovery troop was like the Hitler Youth. I mean, just the watching the ceremony where they inducted those kids, I was like, are they gonna make them cut their hand and then like burn a card in
I
it
mean,
or
again,
something?
they were like this. They were like, welcome to
Exactly.
the truth.
You have the guy who looks like a full-on serial rapist with like
Yeah.
his like aviator glasses with a tinted orange frame, like tinted orange lenses and stuff. I was like, I would never let my kid go anywhere with that guy.
I have a question. I think it's like midpoint where Tim Robbins catches Jeff Bridges sleeping in the backyard, and the book's all out. And he's like, you know who I am, blah blah blah. Do you think Tim Robbins was gonna try and flip him to whatever it is that it?
Like, I think maybe his original plan was to recruit him rather than pay, like, rather than make him a
That's
patsy.
why he moved in so close to so and so.
No, I think the original plan was to be the plant.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the patsy was always the plan.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's why in the dinner scene he was like,
It's reasonable to think, though. I don't like. I wouldn't. You know, that's.
yeah, but in the dinner scene, he was like drinking milk like a fucking psychopath, and then he's like, "Don't you want people to pay? Don't you want people to pay?" Like kind of like prodding.
Even when so and so gets fucking Tony Stark's mom gets killed after sleeping with Obadiah Stane, it's like it's funny. He's on the phone doing this whole thing, and then the camera does that weird slow pan, and it's like Joan Cusack, Tim Robbins on the couch with him, and is like rubbing his shoulder and doing the whole thing. You're like, dude, you just confronted this guy a day ago.
Yeah.
Gave him everything you knew. All of a sudden, your new girlfriend's dead. Like.
And now you're like just letting him console you, like you cannot make a connection.
That's the whole thing. It's like
she was a good girl.
Even I don't watch a lot of Jeff Bridges movies. I don't know what
it's a lot like this.
But I feel like they were like upfront, masculine. Like the way that Tim Robbins fucking manhandled him, played him is kind of like one of those things. I'm like, I don't know if I believe it so much, but also I'm into it because just fucking.
I was thinking, like, I guess in my mind, I kind of feel like after Lebowski, Jeff Bridges kind of became the Jeff Bridges we know now. But honestly, I was looking at his filmography, and he has lots of movies post Lebowski that he does that are more like this. It's not until like he gets into like True Grit and Crazy Heart, and then R.A.P.D. and shit like that, and Hell or High Water, where he really just like leans into the old grizzled cowboy thing. Like
this is face the entire time in all those movies.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta find a thing there about Bear and away.
Even in Obadiah Stane, he's hiding behind the goatee and the bald head and stuff.
We gotta go into the ratings phase.
Take one more slice of pizza. All right, that's enough.
Ratings phase.
But also, the whole time I'm feeling for the guy. Even when he sees
the ratings phase. TJ, go to the ratings phase.
Joe, you talked about the deadline, or Deadline, whatever the fuck it was. The article earlier about them doing a series.
Oh, yeah.
It's involved because the kid has seen all this. His mom died. His potential stepmom died. His dad died.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this movie.
like in the same, like just a continuation of the
kid,
movie.
That dude, he did come back for Glass. You know, he can come back for this.
But it's like it's almost essentially like. We'll talk about the end of this movie.
You could bring back Tim Robbins and Joan Cusack too. Just do it.
They win. Their whole fucking whatever.
Still be around doing their thing. They could
Tim
do a whole
Robbins,
episode where you find out they planned the January 6th insurrection and shit.
Well, Tim Robbins doing this movie also.
On the fucking front stoop. They're like, we're selling. We're moving again. You know what I mean? So
1999. Tim Robbins doing this fucking movie makes sense too, just because like him and Susan Sarandon were like the leaders of like liberal politics of like getting their message out.
They were like the top liberal celebrities for a long time.
So I feel like he was probably like,
Trump got into office, it became a lot cooler to be a liberal celebrity. So then a bunch of people jumped on that bandwagon.
Yeah. Anyway, Yusuf, you have something for us?
Let's go into the ratings phase. TJ.
I'll jump right in. I'm gonna give this movie again. Brian, you did good. This is a good movie. I had fun with it. I would watch this again on a TBS TNT Sunday. But if I do see it on any streaming services, Netflix, you should probably pick this one up and put it on there. But I'll give this a good
Paramount Plus.
7.9. Resend mail to somebody else because that shit happened twice. Like, all right, yeah.
Pieces of mail, wrongly addressed pieces of mail.
Yo.
Yeah, so I agree with TJ about, but if I see it on, I'll probably watch it. I did enjoy myself, like the twist. The ending pissed me off, but that's the fucking point of the movie. Like, I respect that.
They said they don't do endings like this anymore. They would never let it be this bleak.
No.
It's in a weird way. It kind of has the same reaction I think people had to like the Gone Girl ending, right? Like, it's not the ending you think it's gonna have or satisfying, but it makes sense to the story. So I like that.
You get to see Ben Affleck's penis, though.
I like that so much more than Ben Affleck dick. Having said that, I'm right there with you, TJ. I'm gonna do this 7.7. Tim Robbins fake last names.
All right, I'll
the worst excuse ever. I want to honor my friend.
Killed himself.
I want to honor my friend by taking his name, and I was ashamed of my own. I was like, "What? You would never believe that in a million years."
Yeah, I agree with the scoring. Good movie, good. Again, a little too long. Maybe cut one of the speeches, but all of them tie. So I don't know, because the wife is important, and then we circle back to the first one that he did. Maybe cut one of those when he's talking to the FBI agent. He talks to him too much. Like, maybe
you could probably trim down the investigation a little bit. Some Jeff Bridges stuff where he's just like cycling through newspapers and whatever. You'd probably trim.
But I'll do the ending is worth it. Good acting by by everybody. Honestly, the kids sucked, but just kids. You can ignore them. Like in real life.
Yeah, weird that kid from Gladiator and stuff was he's in so many big movies and he's not particularly good in any of them.
No. Yeah. 7.5 awkward tours of homes with wine glasses in your hand. You're like, I guess I want to see the entire home.
I've been on those tours before where they give you a drink. Like, let's go walk around. And you're just like swirling around your drink, just like, all right, nice. Like this is nice.
Good job.
I've been them. Brian, where are you at with this? And
I was thinking, I was like, hey, I'm so glad everybody responded so well to this. I'm glad everybody enjoyed this, and glad it's really fun to watch talk about a movie nobody had seen. That's like something we don't often get to do.
Also, say before you finish, shout out a movie I would absolutely watch with my dad.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah. I'm truly going to talk about this movie on Thanksgiving.
Like either going to ask my dad if he's seen it or suggest it to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might have come in and like if everybody wasn't maybe like at a 7, but I love that everybody got higher. I'll jump up there too. I think it's good enough to be like a 7.5 or a 7.7. And that's appropriate because that's the number of fingers Grady's left with. What?
Also, hard Blu-ray to find.
7.5.
So, it's my pick.
Oh, we got a wheel.
And so we are coming to the holiday.
Good mythical morning over here. Oh,
I love that shit.
Turn off the blur.
Turn off the blur. It's fucking it up.
The blur. Okay. We're coming to the holidays.
Hold down. Eat a dick.
So I decided to add just Christmas movie adjacent. So not Christmas movies, and I stayed away from horror movies also because it's too much of that. I have a show for that. So these are all Christmas movie adjacents, like Long Kiss Goodnight to choose from for the first episode in December. Ooh. So I'm gonna spin. We could spin twice if you want, but let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it actually spins.
Our turns.
So what is this?
Letterbox.
Lethal Weapon.
The original Lethal Weapon.
The original Lethal Weapon. I could read off the choices if you want.
Yeah, man, that was the pick. That's the wheel.
That's the pick.
Yeah, unless you're not happy with it.
No, I'm happy with it. The others were You've Got Mail, Batman Returns, L.A. Confidential, The Green Knight, Rocky IV, Prometheus, Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, and Better Watch Out.
Ooh,
Nice.
I like
We'll save our
Prometheus and
Prometheus
Edward
songs. We're gonna do a
Scissorhands.
10-year watch along, the
Yeah.
anniversary next summer.
So Lethal Weapon's the next choice, which actually would be kind of I haven't watched the first Lethal Weapon since I've been about
Yeah,
12
we're
years
pro
old.
Mel Gibson.
Lethal Weapon,
podcast.
like, to me was always like a secondary action franchise. Like, not that I don't like them, but like for some reason it never like hung with me as one of my like constant watches. So it'll be nice to go check that out again.
Yeah, I
Sure.
recently rewatched it with my wife, and me and her were just laughing our ass off at the soundtrack. You'll notice why once you watch
All
it.
right, well, I'm really excited to do so.
All right,
So.
where can the people find you, TJ?
You guys are on Flyover State of Film YouTube right now. You guys find me at TJ Dex on Twitter talking about
The Eagles,
Usually what sucks, things that suck.
Flyers, what
Yeah.
sucks.
very
Yeah,
hateful.
Midnight Mass.
But love y'all.
Joe.
You could find me on this channel, and specifically doing Flyover State of Fear, and we have a big slate of guests coming out that are
Has its
all
own
from
Twitter if
different-
you want to follow. Flyers.
And there's a new Twitter handle, Flyover State of Fear, or Flyover State Fear. I don't know. There's a new Flyover State of Fear Twitter handle. My Twitter handle, Chendingo1. Trying to run that Twitter handle a little more just like horror specific account, tweeting out some questions and whatnot. You know. So, thanks for watching, guys. Love these.
Brian.
Yeah, you know, you can find me at Hercules. You can find me maybe on here doing another flyby with TJ or Yusef sometime. Somebody comes up with an idea.
Do you want to talk about Rocky? You fucking dickhead.
What? Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, you want to do it about Rocky now? Now that I said some shit. Said some
They could be a nice
shit.
companion piece to our Rambo one in the last Rambo.
That's true. We'll see. Let's not commit to anything because as soon as we put now people are going to be constantly bombarding us with, when are you doing that episode? All our fans. Just
when are you doing that Jingle All the Way
just find
live
me on
stream?
Twitter at Hercules, just being a dick.
Bye.
When are you watching Jingle All the Way?